Good morning and welcome to our e-learning series. This morning we are covering digital banking, a virtual class for seniors. I am your host, Crystal Parker, and it is great to be with you. I am the Financial Education and Community Outreach Ambassador for the Credit Union. And today we'll be joined by two speakers, April Lucy, our Vice President of Accounting, and Charity Rupp, our Marketing Manager.
Thank you for having us. We are very excited to talk about one of my favorite subjects.
Digital banking.
Digital banking. We just want to talk about this. It can be a challenge as the world gravitates more towards digital. And we want you guys to understand all the tools that you have so you can be cool with all the grandkids and the people around. Also, we really want you to have the same advantages as everyone else in the market. I know for me, I watch my dad every Saturday for my whole entire life, get up, write his bills, send them in the mail, put a stamp, do this whole register, consolidate everything, and drive to the bank, drive to the post office. And those are all well and good, but there's so many tools that you have now that you can do these things faster, quicker. Don't have to drive to the post office, don't have to stamp. And you can have that information pretty immediate. You can also view your statement. So we want you guys to have those same accesses and same tools. But I think we should dive right in.
All right, let's go.
Digital tools. We just kind of talked about that. You love your digital tools, April.
I do. I use both the online banking on my computer at home, but when I'm out and about, I always use my cell phone to access it. So there's an app that you can get from the App Store, and it's free.
And you still use your register. You still kind of go through that whole.
Sure. I'm a little old school about writing some things down. Getting better, but
I don't know if that ever changes, right? My dad will still write it down, and I still write it down, but I've noticed my children, they don't know what a register is.
No.
So it's kind of funny.
Or write checks.
Or right, I know. I actually had to explain to my husband a couple of years ago how to write checks. It wasn't an age factor, it's just I've always done it. So but those are still prevalent in the market, but with everything changing, you have a lot different things. I don't know if you guys have heard of like Venmo and stuff like that. My kids, I'll take them out to lunch and they'll be like, oh, well, Venmo you the money. I'm like, oh, okay. So that's a whole new world we're getting into with the digital world.
Right.
So here we have two different offerings. We have our app, as April talked about. It's quick, it's easy, it's on your phone if you have a smartphone, super safe and secure. But we also have the PC. I know that I'm starting to have problems. My arms are no longer long enough.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And you can't check, your phone from the floor. I've noticed that. So there's certain things that I like on the computer because I can see it better. Do you find that same thing?
Absolutely. Particularly when I want to look at my statement and of course then have your register out to check things off. I typically want the computer screen for that and not the small phone.
Yeah, you can see your e-statements on your small phone. But you have to, make it bigger,
Right.
And sometimes that can be a challenge and I have to ask my teenager, which I don't want to ask my teenager. Because you'd be like, Mom, it's this way. So it both have useful features. The app, you can switch users on pretty quickly. So if you have multiple accounts here and you want to switch over to your grandson or to your husband, or you have an aging parent that you need to take care of and you need to monitor their account, you can do that quite easily from your phone. You set it up. If you have any problems setting it up, our staff will be happy to help you set up your switch user. But it doesn't do that on the PC. In the PC, you have to log out and you have to log in with their information. So that's kind of one of the advantages of the phone,
Which I use a lot, actually.
Yeah.
And I did not realize that you couldn't do that that you had to re-sign in on the computer.
I did not realize that at first either. That became a thing. And I was like, what, we should probably mention that this is a really cool feature about our phone app. So you're out and about and you want to see if something has gone through, you can check that from your phone.
Great.
So quick balances. Again, I know most of us keep registers and we know our balance, but it's nice to see the confirmation.
Right.
Or if there's something funky going on, there's something crazy going on. Suddenly you see a charge from Kroger in Ohio and you haven't been to Ohio, immediately something's going on. And that's another feature of that.
Yeah, another feature too is the the fact that if you have a credit card here with them, like Go Federal Credit Union, you can see your credit card activity as well.
Yeah, I mean, and with everyone trying to secure their account, that is a huge, huge secure factor. Let's see. Also, we talked about the comfort. People are more comfortable when they first transition into PC. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I think that for all of us, the older generations, we started with a PC. We started with a personal computer. I started with AOL and that noise where everyone was trying to get onto the internet at the same time and hoping that there was no busy signal.
Sure.
You remember those days, right?
Yeah, and I actually remember doing everything on paper.
On paper,
So
yeah.
even before that. So.
I remember when I submitted my first payroll through a system and I was like, you mean it's there automatically? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, this is cool. So
Yay.
that was the first clue, right?
Sure.
But I noticed that I transitioned from my PC or my personal computer a lot quicker and it was easier for me to maneuver. Once again, because of the vision, you can make it as big as you want. You can see. So if you're just transitioning to digital, I would recommend starting with PC.
Agree.
So, and the really one thing that I will say about PCs, it's a lot of times you can go to the library, you can use their PCs, you can use a family member's PC. There is a sign out button when you use your PC. You should always sign out of your personal computer with your digital tools because that will keep you safe. It is made that way. You do not have the same sign out feature on your phone because once you leave your app on your phone, it automatically signs you out. So you don't have to go through all that. But your sign out feature is a big, big thing with your PC.
Absolutely. Yeah, most people don't take their computers to other family homes, but if you do or on vacation, you definitely want to be safe.
Definitely. So there's various tools that we talked about. It is designed to make your life simple. It is not. My dad is terrified of digital banking, to be honest with you. He likes writing the checks, but he also knows he travels a lot, so it's better. So he's trying to learn, but he's still kind of terrified. But it's really simple. When they design these things, they want to include every age group. They don't want to just include, the younger guys, our teenagers, our grandkids. They want parents and grandparents and even great grandparents to have access because it's safer and it's convenient. So easy things you can do, check your balance. When you're learning, start with checking your balance and checking transactions. You just went to Kroger, you spent $200, you want to see if it's live, if it's already there, pull up your phone and check it and see if it's on there, see how fast. It's kind of neat to see how fast the companies process things. Their process though has we receive the information and post it. We don't submit the information. So if you don't see something right away, it just means the company hasn't gotten it to us yet. Do you think that causes any concern?
Not normally, because I'm not so quick to check a balance, probably once a day. For example, when I would go visit my dad, he wanted to know what he had. I could show him on there. So once a day was sufficient for me. I don't watch.
You don't watch it?
Watch it every moment.
I'm a big watcher. I like to check almost everything. So I would check my account multiple times a day because you never know. We had once my husband, I don't know if you've ever seen these emails where it's like, hey, your information has been compromised. Click here to update your information. So my husband did it thinking that Apple didn't have their information. Oops. Oh my goodness. The charges that came through were from all over the world. And he's like, no, it was Apple. I'm like, no, you never click on a website and give out your information. Right. If you ever get something like that, call the financial institution, call, your credit card servicer, because it took us 3 or 4 days to get that straight. And the fraud process can be very detailed and it can be very confusing. So
you want to make sure you use the number that's like on your card.
Yes.
Or that you have, at home, go look it up. You don't want to use whatever's in that email either if you're suspicious, because that could also be.
Well, I got something the other day that was like, oh, you want something with your credit union, and I clicked on it and it had something about it was the weirdest, strangest email, and it was very obvious about it. Had something about the Olympics or and I was like, oh my God, if I clicked on this and given out my information, I would be subject to fraud.
There's a lot of tricksters with the Olympics right now.
Right. So that's why I check my stuff. I like to make sure that that's just my obsessive personality. You can also view your loan information. So if you have a car loan through us, you can look at it. It's going to give you months that you originally had signed for. It's going to give you your interest rate, when your next payment's due. It's going to give you an estimated payoff, but those things change daily. So you never want to go, oh, this is the number. If you ever have any questions about payoffs, you know, call in or come into a branch and we'll help you with that. But it's a good overview of, you bought this car 5 years ago and I have another year.
Right, and I love it that I've spent time setting up automatic payments. So I know on the first Friday of every month, that's when my payment is coming out to make the payment on my loan.
Yeah, that's cool.
Automatic.
And makes your life easier.
Yes.
You can view any of your account information. If you need your routing number because you are sending, you're setting up a new pension plan, or you're starting a new job, part-time job or anything, you can get your routing number. You need it for taxes. It is in the app itself and it's on our digital banking, the whole system. You can also find that on our website, but in digital banking, you can actually find your account number for each account. So if you have a share account, you can get that individual, but if you have a checking account as well, you can get that as well. And you just click on the actual checking account and you scroll down and it'll give you your account number. So that's what you would use with the routing number.
Yeah, and I encourage folks, if you haven't looked at those in a long time, to make sure that you do. It does make things cleaner if you make sure those numbers are correct with the other party that you're dealing with. Sometimes things can get mixed up.
Yeah.
If it's been there for a long time.
Yeah, and it's good to have that power and know what's going on with your accounts. Of course, we talked about e-statements. That's kind of my favorite.
Yes.
I am terrible about paper. I'm trying to declutter all my paper. We are having a shred event at Short Pump on the 27th if you want to get rid of some old paper. But with my statements, I like to actually save them in my computer on the cloud, which I'm now, grown used to the cloud. Yeah. Have you grown used to the cloud?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's nice having the cloud because you can sign in from anywhere and pull your information. It's secure.
Right.
My music, I have music and photos from 2010. I didn't even know they were saving it yet. I don't even know if I thought a cloud was anything other than something in the sky at that time. Did you?
I played around with a couple of those kind of sites. So yeah.
It's just crazy how much it's changed in the last 20
has.
years.
Yes.
I mean, I remember as a teenager, it started with the AOL and it's just progressed to a point that I don't even know if you have to come into a branch to do anything for the most part. If you're a member, you can do it on your.
You really can do a lot. And I think a lot of folks learned that through this most recent COVID episode. You really can do a lot of things remotely that you never could before. And our tools are just great to make it easy to do that.
Right. And when COVID first happened, I know that we had a lot of phone calls and that can overwhelm the system and people couldn't get through because we just had so much going on.
Right.
So this system also helps out with that as well. We talked about safety concerns. We're gonna circle back to some other really cool things that this does, but safety is a huge thing with my dad. Have you?
Absolutely. Yeah. When it's not right in front of you, my dad would always say, it's not really there. I need to know. I need to see it. So.
Right. Well, I remember my stepmom, she always was like so afraid to buy anything online because she was afraid to put her credit card into a server or into a computer. And that was probably about 10 years ago. And now everything is like, I have 3 credit cards stored in my computer to pay for Amazon.
Right.
I think Amazon changed the game a lot with that sort of technology. Absolutely. And the comfort. But with our security, we work very hard when you first get your account set up with digital banking. We do a 2-factor authentication, and it is designed to help make sure that it is you. So we send it to a text to your phone or an email of something that we have in our system to confirm it is you. You set up your system and you set up a PIN. And it can be a very complicated process, and it's different for everybody. It just depends on how you set it up, right? Mm-hmm. But again, you can bring in your phone, you can bring in your computer, your laptop, or come in and we will help you get that set up if it's confusing. We're always looking to advance our technology. So one of the things that we constantly look in is to make sure that you're secure and safe and all your information is secure. We're constantly educating our staff. We're doing updates. There'll be times where our digital banking is down because they're doing updates for safety, security, new features. So if you see something like that, you come in, it's like, oh, it's out for now. Just try a couple hours later. It's usually something that we're just pushing through an update to make sure you're safe.
Right. And one thing I think is a challenge, not only for older folks, but for everybody is managing passwords. So you just need to make sure that, when you set this up, that you have a secure place that you keep all of these passwords and that you can go find it. So even if you have to go home, to do that, at least you know where that secure spot is. But that's the world today. Most things require a password. You don't want to use the same one for every sign on that you use. And so in particular, keep your banking password different than anything else.
That's a great point. I remember back in the day, it was originally just 4 numbers or 4, it was 4
Right.
numbers.
Mhm.
And then they're like, oh, let's add a capital. And then suddenly we had to add a capital and we all decided it was the first one, right? We all was like, it's the first letter is going to be capital no matter what. So it's like we all collectively decided. Then we had to start adding numbers. Then we started adding special characters, which we all seemed to decide was the exclamation point. So we
Gosh,
had,
really?
everyone's thinking,
Oops.
Oops.
Yeah.
But April's absolutely right. I have a bad tendency of forgetting all my passwords because I have one for this one for that one. So I keep a spreadsheet secure that no one can find.
Yep.
And I'm always like, oh my God, what was I thinking that day? What mood was I in that day to change it to this? So I have a variation of about 10 different passwords.
Right.
And I'm constantly having to reset it because I can't remember sometimes.
Gotcha. Yeah, I have a password manager. I actually downloaded and paid for an app so that I can manage all the passwords that I have. Yeah, too
I
many.
need to do that.
Too many.
I have a notebook.
Yeah, I've graduated.
Yeah, you graduated. Look at
On that
you.
one.
We have had a question come through.
Good.
Did you just say that I can bring my laptop and you will help me set up the HFCU stuff? Do I need an appointment?
We no longer, you can do a walk-in. You don't have to have an appointment, but we would love to help you. We have done that in the past for people who are having problems, but yes, bring in your laptop. It would probably be good to call ahead and say, hey, I'm coming in an hour. Are you guys busy? Can you see me? But you can walk in anytime and we'll be happy to help you out. Because I know that can be a challenge too. When you first, especially with that 2-factor authentication. And many times everyone has great intentions to make it more secure, but sometimes they just seem to make it more confusing.
Sure.
I know I struggle sometimes because again,
And every
I know-
website's different.
and every website's different, right? I can't remember. Some of them do require special characters. Some of them don't. I think I still have a password out there that's only 4. That's like super. It's probably like Yahoo or something.
Right, and you just never changed.
Just never changed. In our past, when we used to have our digital banking, you had to have 2 sign-ins. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
And then we went through this thing that we all call the Great Conversion of 2020, right before the pandemic, where we switched our systems to a different system and it updated. So now all of your stuff is one and the same. So if you sign on to your app, your password will be the same. And if you sign on to your personal computer, your password's the same. It makes it a lot less confusing because they're both from the same processor, from the same server. So you don't have to do 2 different things. That was one of our new features. Well, I guess it's a year old. It's not new anymore.
Not anymore,
No.
but it's expected anymore. So
Yeah.
I'm glad we have that.
That was a nice change. You can make payments through Bill Pay, and we're going to go over that later. The differences, the advantages. You can set up account alerts. Now I have one that makes me happy that every time I get over a certain amount, I get a notification.
Oh, aren't you smart?
I know, it makes me feel like I'm doing good, right?
Accomplished.
But you can ask it, like if your account drops below $50, you can set an alert. That's a good one to protect yourself, or $100, $200. I can also give you a big clue that fraud just happened on your account, because that's actually what happened with my husband when he signed into his Apple and distributed all our information to hackers. I got a notification from, hey, your account has dropped below $50. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I immediately knew something was going on with that. Have you ever had any?
I haven't, thankfully.
It's scary.
It's very scary.
I actually got swept up in that Target one a couple of years ago. I got a letter from Target that my Target credit card had been compromised, and they actually paid for a year of security for me for fraud. I never had anything come out of it, thank goodness. But you know, it's a scary world. They're always trying to figure out. They're trying to think of things we don't think of. To get through. We try to think things they're thinking of before they get through. So
And once it's out there, sometimes there's no getting it back. So
right. So setting up account alerts are really good.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Great idea.
And you can do it directly from your phone and through your PC. And again, if you need help with it, come on in and we'll help you out. You can temporarily lock your card. Now, I am notoriously bad about losing things. I lost my car keys once for 2 weeks. My husband, he was so mad at me. I left them at the movies in VCC. And 2 weeks later, I'm like, oh, I think I left them there. So I'm also really bad about my card. Do you lose your card? I don't think you lose your card.
No, I don't.
So
I'm very tight with that thing.
I have a very bad habit of taking my card out to pay and I'm in a hurry. So I'll shove it in my back pocket, and not back to where it needs to be. So I find that I quite often
Find it in the washing machine.
I found it in the washing machine, found it in my pants pocket, found it in the car, found it fell in the car a couple times.
Right.
So one of those stressors is you automatically think someone has stole your car, you lost it, right? And you panic and you're freaking out. And since I do it a lot, I tend to go through this quite often. So what I tend to do is now I can lock my card.
It's a super simple process. I've actually seen it. You just hit the button.
You just hit the button.
There's a button.
It's amazing because I don't want to have to go through, you know, a lost card or a stolen card every time I do this, because it would be a lot. And
Right.
My husband.
And then it shows back up. So
and then it shows back
right,
up.
turn it
Like,
back on.
it never fails. In the past, when I've lost my card, it's like, it's gone. It's gone. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to contact my financial institution. I'm going to get a reorder. 30 minutes later,
There it is.
I find the card. And once you submit that reorder and it's done, you can't
have to
take it
wait.
back. You have to wait 7 to 8 working days, get a new PIN. So it's a whole process. So this is a really cool feature where you can lock your card. Now, your automatic drafts, anything you've set up for like prepayment, is still going to go through. It's not going to prevent that. But what it will do is if you lock your card and someone picks it up,
They can't go use it.
they can't go to Kroger, they can't go to Target, they can't get gas with it, and it can save you a whole step on fraud. It's really one of my favorite features.
It's a great feature. Yeah, great
If-
feature.
Everyone's like, I love it, but I never need it because I keep up with my
Fortunately, I
card.
haven't. Yeah, but I've seen it.
Yeah, and it's a good system. Of course, we talked about you can view your transaction history. It goes back pretty far. I think pretty.
Back to at least, I mean, on the regular pages, right back to when we did conversions. So, in
Yeah, it's like last March.
yeah, yeah. in
Yeah,
February.
wow. You can also transfer funds to other people at Henrico Federal Credit Union. This is a really cool feature. My son has an Henrico account. My granddaughter has an Henrico account. My daughter has one. And if I want to send them money, instead of doing Venmo or
Right.
Cash App in me, because I don't ready for that in my life, but I can send money directly over to their accounts.
Yeah.
So there's
Super simple.
yeah, it's a cool thing. When you go into your system, it says make transfer to another account, and you need the first 3 letters of the last name.
Last name.
You need their account number, and then you need to choose, do you want to send it to their share account, to their checking account, or to their loan? It just really depends on what you're doing. And it's a pretty easy process. But again, bring it in if you have any issues with it. We can teach you, we can help you get it straight.
Right.
Have you ever used that feature?
Yes, all the time.
Well, we have this Christmas Mother feature right now. So what we're doing is we're bringing in money for Christmas Mother to help out the county, because, you know, it's going to be a hard Christmas for a lot of people. So you can actually send money over to that account to donate money for our Henrico Christmas Mother.
Absolutely.
So-
It starts with HEN. For those of you who want to donate.
Yeah, if you have
It's a
any,
great cause.
it is a great cause. We've done really well. We are taking donations until July 29th to help that cause. So it's a cool thing that you can do with that really neat feature. You can transfer funds to accounts elsewhere. This is a little bit harder. It's a lot more intensive. This is kind of an intermediate level or a higher thing to do on your digital banking. It goes through a whole process where they deposit money. Have you ever used that?
Yes, and it's really not that hard. It really is fairly simple and intuitive. You just have to wait a little bit. So you're setting up an account with the other institution,
Mhm.
and you enter your data from the routing number that you get right off the app,
Mhm.
and the account number. And what you do is wait for our system to send and recall back very small transactions, less than $1. And then you verify those 2 transactions with the other company via an email that typically they'll send you. And once you've done that, then it's set up. And then from then on, if you need to make transfers, you can do that. So you can do that if your family has an account at another institution, perhaps, that you need to help them with.
Right.
So it's great.
I think that the problem that we hear is that delay, waiting for that account, those
Sure.
deposits to go in. And I think that, because I've seen a lot of feedback on that it
Yeah.
takes too long.
Takes a couple days sometimes.
It really depends on the other financial institution. We got to speak to each other, and it's a whole process with that tool.
We
But-
always call it the handshake, right?
Yeah, no,
So
right.
the handshake has to happen in order for it to process after that.
And then you have to see the handshake to confirm, and it's usually like 5 cents or 10 cents or something. It's going to be something only you can see, so
Right.
it's done securely. But you know,
A lot of folks use it for investing too. You know,
Yeah.
if you have investment accounts elsewhere and you want to make regular deposits to that place, and it makes it easy to do. Transfers.
well, that's one I don't use often. I usually use straight to Enrico because my whole family's in Enrico. So.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking like other types of investments, not like, like saving in your retirement plan, for instance.
It's true.
Um,
Pension, stuff like that.
If you can make donations or transfers yourself.
That's cool. I need that one. Remote check capture. Now, I know my dad loves to write his checks and fill everything out and send it out, but he also receives checks every once in a while from whoever, he's part of a train club, and they may send checks for events, and he still uses them. And if you still use them, that's good. I mean, checks are still very prevalent. People still take checks. But if you receive a check, you can actually submit through your phone app only a remote capture. It's what we call a remote capture, but it's you can deposit that check into your account.
It's brilliant. Yeah, you literally just follow the instructions right on the app, take the picture, complete the back like it says. It tells you exactly what you need to write on the back of it in order for it to process properly. You take a picture of the front and the back and hit go. Let me pick the account you want it to go in, and it does next business day.
Yeah.
So, if you do it at night, it's not going to be till the next day, but still, it's a great feature. And then you save your trip.
Saves your trip. And then if something does, like you don't endorse it right, we'll contact you, say, hey, we just need you to do a redo. So it's pretty cool.
Mhm.
And if it's a bigger check, the ones usually the smaller ones go in, but if it's bigger, it'll tell you when your funds are available.
That's right.
So because sometimes if it's $1,000 check, your funds may not be available right away. So, and it communicates very well with you on that. But that is a on phone only feature. You cannot do that with your personal computer. And then the really, really, really cool thing is securely message our contact center. So we have it set up that messages can go through your phone or your PC directly to our contact center. And that's people who are live in this building that actually answer the phones. They pull double duty. So they help out on the computer and they help out with the phones. So if there's a time you can't get in through the phone system, you can actually send a secure message. And the cool thing is they already know who you are. They've already confirmed your identity. You're secure. You can ask a question about a transaction. You can ask a question. You can anything. You can update your mailing address if you move. And they're all live local. We are not outsourcing this to another state. These are all people that we see every day and work, and they help you out. Actually, a lot of managers look at it, and we also know exactly what you guys need when you ask questions. Like we know that we needed to do a digital thing because people had some questions about some of the digital tools. So, we can see that through messages. And then usually it's not a live instant thing. It's usually within 24 hours. So if we're here, so it's with our staff, they work at their regular hours, 8:30, 5:30, and they get in first thing in the morning, they check their messages and we see how we can help, how we can answer. And if it's holidays, it may take a little while. But once they answer you, you get a little notification on your phone.
Yep, and actually online it records that so that if you need to refer back to it for some reason, it's the question and answer still there.
Yeah. And if you have a fraud or something like your husband signs up for Apple stuff that he wasn't supposed to without checking with his wife who works for a financial institution first, you can submit a fraud claim. You can get the information from us, write out everything, and then you can take a picture and upload it directly through your computer now.
That's
So
great. Yeah.
it's really cool.
Yeah.
And we're trying to make your lives as easy as possible. We still love you coming into the branch. Of course, we want to help you. We want to see your faces. We want you to come to our lobby days. We have food trucks.
Yeah.
They're really, really fun. But, if there's something that you can do on the phone for your convenience, we want to support that as well.
One of the things I just thought of that I don't think we've talked about is that if you want to keep a receipt, for example, that relates to an expense on there, when on the computer application, you're able to upload or save a receipt there and map it to a particular charge. So if you need to look back at a receipt for some reason, you can match it right to your check or to your debit to your account, that sort of thing. That's convenient too.
That's cool for those of us who save receipts.
Yes, some do. Yeah.
Some do. So the secure message system, once again, it goes directly to the people. You'll see a little pop-up of the face of the person. Those are their faces. We took all their pictures.
Real humans.
Real humans, live people, not someone we're outsourcing, because you know your stuff is very important to us and we want to be able to help you out. So how to message this? This is a good thing. My son actually yesterday, he had to go into his system and he had to message the contact center because he couldn't ask me. He didn't want to ask me. He wanted to ask the contact center. And he's 18. He's a man now, so he wanted to do it all himself. But he, even at 18, struggled with figuring out how to message the contact center. So you just log into your account, which is secure. You go to menus and select messages. And you just hit the little plus button to begin the new message. You can actually continue old messages, but there's a chance that person may not be there and someone might not see it. So it's always best to really start a new message or a new conversation. And then once you receive a response, you get a notification, and you may have a question about this target thing that you don't remember spending, and you want to get some information. Click on it, send them a message. And they come in the next morning, they see it, and then they will send you a response and they will help you out. So it's a really cool system.
Yeah, always being able to connect to a human is a good way to do business. I mean, not having to always rely on your memory, you know, and what you're seeing there on online to be able to connect is a good feature. I like a credit union. One of the reasons I love my credit union.
I love mine too. It's a good one. But yeah, we work really hard to make sure that you can get to us any way possible. I mean, there might be traffic outside, there might be, you know, weather and you can't talk, but we're usually still here. We work our hours. We get back to you. The policy is we really try to get back to you within 24 hours that you make the first initial message. But during holidays, that might be the Monday or the Tuesday after. It just depends. When we talk about bill pay, we kind of added this feature recently. Bill pay, once again, my dad loves to write out his checks, drives to the post office with his little stamps. Stamps are going up, by the way. I remember when they were 23 cents a stamp.
You don't remember what a lot of us were. They were a lot cheaper back.
They just suddenly went like, but you know, the post office, you know, they have a lot going on. You know, they're not always, trucks get into car accidents. They don't always have staffing. They may have people call in. Actually, at one time used to do events at the post office, and you know there would be people that wouldn't show up, so that put a lot of work on people. So things get delayed,
Right.
and you don't want your checks to get delayed. So we have bill pay. So bill pay is a really cool feature that we have. It goes through your account. You can go to the full site, which I recommend when you start to set up everyone. You can have. I have Kohl's. I have a Kohl's credit card. I don't even remember how to sign into my Kohl's account, but I can go make my payment to Kohl's through my bill pay.
Right. And you don't, you know, with the delays that there are in the mail system today, I mean, really bill pay is really convenient because your payment is going to go out when you say it needs to. We even have a rush feature. You can pay a small fee and rush a payment to get it done even faster. But it's so simple. Once the bill is set up, once the payee is set up, all you do is go in there, verify the amount that you want, and off it goes. It's also convenient too because you can manage payments by allowing your bills actually to come there instead of going to your mailbox. So you don't ever have to risk not getting your water bill on time because the mail didn't deliver it properly, right? So it comes to your email, you get a notification that it's ready to be paid. You log right into your account, put the number in if it's not already there, and off it goes. It's great.
And you can also set up like automatic payments too. So I forget to pay my Kohl's card and it's due every month on the 12th. I can just set up every month a minimum payment, like $29 on the 10th, and I know that it's going to be there on time. So if you pre-do it, it's really a great system.
Great tool.
It also saves you if you can't get out. You know, with the pandemic, a lot of people didn't want to leave their house, and it was scary, and it's a scary situation. You don't know who's safe or what's safe. Bill pay was a great way to keep your bills on time. So, and again, it does eliminate a lot of checks because we process it. you don't have to write a check, so you don't have to pay more for checks. So it's actually a money saver.
Right. The cool thing, if you don't know this, is that you can actually see the image in your online banking as well. So you can see what it looks like. And it's a type check. Obviously, it's not your handwriting on it. It's the credit union typed it, but still you can see exactly where it went.
All right. We have some questions in the chat, Crystal.
It's safe for Google to keep our passwords.
To be honest with you, I put mine in my Google. It's secure with password protected, but I don't know who has access to it. I also keep a written one for me, but I keep that in my house, but I'm still kind of paranoid that.
And
someone
I'm old school. I never let any of my passwords save on my phone in any of the browsers that I'm in. So I always have to enter, which is one of the reasons that I told you that
You got the app thing.
I have an app, and like I said, I pay for it on an annual basis so that it can do some of that for me. I mean,
Right.
it's saved in the app, and I have to log into the app every time I use it. So it's one more step, but it makes me feel safer.
Right. I would say with Google, I have it too, but I also very aware that hackers can get in. So I can't say it's completely safe. My safest thing is the one that's in my bedroom drawer at home.
Oh,
The paper.
Don't tell anybody.
I'm gonna have to move that now. So just so you know, I'm gonna have to move that now. Any other questions, Crystal?
Can you ask for assistance on the app by someone by phone?
Yes, you can. You can call in, and if you need someone to help you walk through the process on your phone, but you can also start that conversation of anything once you're in to the system. So yeah, they will help you. It's the same people you would talk to on the phone that will be answering your questions to the phone. So they can help both. And again, you can bring it in if you need get through this. Yeah, the setup. We set up a lot of people during conversion because it was confusing, you know. I mean, it's a big change, big transfer of how we do things. So
But you can find it's really, really easy. As soon as you've practiced a few times, it's easy,
Mhm.
super easy.
And you just download it. We probably should tell them where they can download it. You can go to the Apple Store or Google Play and download Amrico FCU Digital Banking. It's a free app. It has our logo. You can see the ratings and the rankings and all that stuff. And if you need help, we can help you with that as well. We talked a little bit about this earlier about your digital app. One of the biggest confusions we had at conversion was on your phone, you didn't have to log off. You just went out and you would always have to put your PIN to come back in once you had it set up. So it does that so no one can pick up your 18-year-old child who needs money, can't pick up your phone and transfer money into your account. So it's a really cool feature. It's very safe, secure, and you don't have to do anything. But again, we talked about the sign out feature on your PC. Some people, I know that my mom has used her PC or went to the library to check her account because she doesn't have a personal computer. And that is a very dangerous thing to do because anytime you do a public computer, it's a huge process. So always make sure you sign out on your personal computer, even if it's in your home and you're just afraid, you know, that your 18-year-old grandson comes through and wants to train, you know, change.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the challenges I've found that's super easy to overcome on the phone app is when you're paying bills, for instance, and like I said, I'll get some of my bills notifications through email. So when I get those, you know, for example, you know, the water bill, I'll write the amount down real quick, scribble it down there near what I'm doing, and then go into the app and input it. If you go out of the app and then go back in, you have to log back through to get to bill pay.
Mhm.
So you don't want to switch screens on your phone. So if you just write the amount down, then you've got it right there. And commit it to memory.
What's really funny you say that about email, because I will get emails from places that I know are sincere and know, but I still won't open them. I'm still like, nope.
Right.
I even set it up, but nope. 'Cause after the Apple incident, it really freaks you out that people took that money.
Careful.
And that fraud incident, we did get all of our money back, but it was a process. So we have some resources for you. So we work really hard to provide resources.
Absolutely.
So we started with Facebook. We'll be putting this video on Facebook that you can rewatch the replay. That should go up hopefully tomorrow if Facebook cooperates. Facebook doesn't always cooperate with us, but we have all of our Financial Fridays. We have our kids program. So we work really hard to use Facebook. So with Facebook, we added Instagram. You can't have Facebook without Instagram, right?
No.
And Instagram's not really my thing, but it's my daughter's thing. And a couple people who work here, they love Instagram. So it's just Facebook's little sister. I'm going to get books for that one.
I actually like Instagram. It's kind of cool. You don't get Well, I don't get quite as hung up in it as I do when I go to Facebook.
Well, and I like the stories.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel old now.
Yeah.
I like the stories. The stories are cool. We also have YouTube channel. So everything that we do, Financial Fridays, all of our education factors are going to be recorded and put, so you can watch it anytime. If you have other questions about other products and services that we have, if you have questions about mortgages, we have mortgage webinars, we have investment webinars. We try to record everything. Some things we can't because of compliance, but they're all on our YouTube channel and you can watch it anytime.
And you get there by,
You go, so Crystal, will you show them our YouTube channel? She has it on, we have a whole playlist of things that can help you out. And the staff is really good about uploading everything.
it's super easy when you know how to look it up. So you always go to that little magnifying glass to type in Rico Federal Credit Union.
So all of our bagels and buying, anything that we record that we can get out, sometimes we have some technical issues and sometimes compliance again, will be on replays that you guys can watch on YouTube again. So if you need a refresher, I forgot what that person just said and that thing, we can rewind it, have all of our stuff that we can put on there, we put on there, and it's grown quite a bit. I want to say, yeah, we have a lot of content that helps people out. So we're always there it usually takes a couple days because sometimes loading takes a little while after a live event. But we're very consistent about that. We also have a Pinterest page, which is really fun. We have some cute ideas. We have, things you can do with your grandkids, things you can do with nieces and nephews. We had a camping event, so we always have really cool financial tips, arts and crafts, anything that might be relevant to help you guys out in the community.
I can remember when my daughter was getting married, there were lots of posts about, at that particular time, about having things that you can do for weddings and showers and that sort of thing, and saving for weddings. So we have lots of great tips and lots of good places.
I know, it makes me want to get remarried again.
Let's have another wedding.
I know, second wedding. Oh, husband, just don't do anything with Apple and I'll marry you.
That's right.
All right. So I think we also have Twitter too. Twitter's always an interesting thing. We try to hit as much as we can. Twitter's a little different, but we do have a lot of content going on Twitter as well. Most of our educational stuff is through YouTube though. Any other questions, Crystal?
We also want to know, does it cost to use bill pay?
No cost. No. I don't know if it doesn't.
Being a member and having those services, that it comes at no cost. So.
Right. So we pay for your stamp and your check. So it's all done through us. So yeah, it's a free service and it is part of your membership.
You have to have a checking account, of course. You can't do bill pay from a savings account. You have to have savings, checking, and bill pay. And while you're at it, go ahead and get a loan and a credit card. You'll be all set. And a debit card.
And a debit card. Yes, definitely. And your kids' accounts and your grandkids' accounts.
There you go.
And then they can be part of the recruiter. So, any other questions, Crystal?
What is monthly bill pay the same as automatic monthly pay? I'm not sure I understand the question.
No, I mean, bill pay is one that you set up to pay external, entities or whatever. The month, if I'm understanding the question right, the other one is one that you would set up yourself to automatically pay your bill here. For example, your loan, your car loan, or your first mortgage, or those
or
types
refi.
of things. Refi, right?
Yeah. But yeah, your bill pay will be something like I can pay my Kohl's card and I can set it up as a schedule and I can cancel that schedule at any time. Yeah. So, and it's cool.
Yes. So using bill pay versus having an automatic transfer set up for a loan that you have with the credit union is totally different.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Know that April and Charity have shared some really great information, and I know that I am so grateful for you all being here today to explain all of these different features and tools, and hopefully to put people a little bit more at ease. I know that just this week there was a message from a member, kind of having some difficulty with the two-factor authentication, wanting to know why she always had to put in the code. And it turned out that whenever she closed her browser, she always cleared the history. So she would authorize the computer to not ask again, but every time she cleared that browsing history, it cleared the cache and that permission to not ask. So it was a great learning moment. Oh, we've had a question. How can the panelists be reached? If you have a specific question, you can shoot us and you can reply to the e-blast that came out about this to fined@henricofcu.org, and we will make sure that the appropriate person gets your email and is able to respond.
Well, this has been fun, April. I appreciate you coming and
Thanks for
sitting
having
in.
me.
Yeah.
We did have one more question come through. How do we use your ATM while traveling? So this speaks to my heart, because this is, to me, what makes credit unions so wonderful, is that we try to work together, that there is a credit union network of ATMs. And I feel like this is the thing that credit unions do well, that when we work together, this network of ATMs is the largest in the country. There's no bank that has more ATMs than the credit union network of ATMs. So as long as you use one of the credit union ATMs, and if you go onto our website or even onto the app and you search, you can select just ATMs, it will give you those credit union network surcharge-free ATMs. So
Also,
easy access.
so if you are traveling, you're going to be out of state and accessing those ATMs, that could potentially trigger fraud. So you can just message our message center through your phone and say, hey, I'm going to be in Ohio for a week on these dates, and we will update your account so it won't flag it for fraud.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, so you can do that straight through your phone. You don't have to call us. And not that we don't want to hear from you if you want to call us. We love speaking to people.
Right.
But you can actually do that. Or you're driving out of town, you completely forgot. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. My dad travels at 5 o'clock in the morning.
That's the way to do it, especially if you have little ones.
No traffic, he gets there in 8 hours. But if you've got to do that, just send us a message to the system and we will get it as soon as we wake up or we sign into the day. So
Yes, great idea.
any other questions, Crystal?
I'm not seeing any, but I know that I am deeply appreciative to you all for being here, and to our attendees. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. You are the reason that we do what we do, and we are so grateful for each and every one of you joining us today.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.